I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. Appreciate taking time out of your daily lives to come and learn more about your city. For those that don't know me, I'm Dave Beach, the city manager. And we're honored tonight with Boy Scout Troop 266, who will present the flag and do the pledge for us. And then once that's done, we will have a short message/video from the city before the mayor gives her comments. So with that, Troop 266.
Guard attention. Audience, please rise. Guard forward march. Scout salute. Those not in uniform, please place your hand over your heart. Guard, please cross the colors. Guard, please close the colors. Please recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Guard dismissed.
Let's celebrate some of the incredible achievements of your city departments. The Communications Division and the Centennial Committee worked diligently to make the city's centennial celebration an unforgettable experience. From branding and merchandise to memorable events in the coffee table book, these efforts truly showcase the community's spirit. Parks and Recreation, Weir Park reopened after a stunning $1 million renovation, transforming this community space into a hub of activity. These renovations were made possible through the generosity of the Friends of Westview Parks Fund. The Recreation Center proved to have a busy year, recording over 40,000 visits from its members and generating more than $1 million in revenue from swim classes. The Youth Services Division had an exciting year, averaging more than 200 unique program offerings per month, with over 1,100 participants utilizing these services. From fitness classes and social events to technology workshops and wellness programs, we are ensuring Westview seniors have the opportunity to stay active, engaged, and supported. In Public Works, the Community Development Division processed over 3,400 permits, completed 7,400 residential inspections, and conducted over 900 plan reviews. The department successfully completed Package 1 of the East Side Drainage Improvement Project along University Boulevard. At the same time, they initiated Package 2 of the project and finished the Buffalo Speedway Esplanades project. Additionally, they are actively pursuing several other projects currently in design. The dedication of the Westview Fire and Police Departments is extraordinary. The fire department responded to over 1,600 calls for service, while the police department responded to over 21,000 calls, both averaging a response time under 5 minutes. In addition, your first responders hosted another successful National Night Out block party, bringing together hundreds of residents. Westview's future looks brighter than ever, and as we step into 2025, we are committed to supporting the community's continued growth and success. Now, please welcome the Mayor of West University Place, Susan Sample.
Thank you, Troop 266, for helping us with the pledge to kick off the 2025 State of the City Address. We're going to start by reviewing 2024, which was a very busy year for Westview. But first, I want to recognize some groups for serving in their roles for making Westview a great place to live and raise a family. First is our Centennial Committee. If anyone here is from Centennial Committee, go ahead and stand up. I want to highlight their work. If you went, you will know that we had a spectacular celebration for our 100th anniversary. We had exciting drone shows. We have made a unique coffee table book, and earlier we unearthed the city's time capsule during the Founders Day celebration. The Centennial Committee did an amazing job at honoring it, and while we may not be around for the bicentennial, I can only hope they do as good of a job as our centennial committee did. Second, a big shout out to Friends of Westview Parks for their continued partnership and generosity through 2024. Last year, Friends donated almost $1 million, $967,100 towards the Weir Park Improvement Project. Third, I want to take a minute to recognize the 6 standing boards that work closely with the neighbors and staff to make a meaningful impact. If you're here, I welcome you to stand up. Building and Standards Committee, Parks and Recreation Board, Recycling and Solid Waste, Senior Services Board, Zoning and Planning Commission, and Zoning Board of Adjustment. Thank you for this. I know some of your meetings go late into the night, and it really is a commitment. We do appreciate it. And I'm going to make a subtle plug for upcoming recruitment. Solicitations for board and commissions positions typically open in early to mid-August. So be on the lookout for those postings if you're interested on serving your community on one of these committees. In addition, council will be creating a new family board and a task force of citizens to evaluate the feasibility of placing electrical lines underground. That should be interesting. Last May, we're going to go in the 2024 projects that we have finished. We completed package 1 of the East Side Drainage Improvement Project. This included, and you've seen it, I'm sure, upgraded paving and improved stormwater runoff along University from Kirby to Buffalo Speedway, and upsizing the box culverts under the street to improve overall drainage capacity on the east side. East Side Package 2 will also include these improvements to 3 different sections of streets and will replace the existing cast iron water lines, which when you see pipes breaking in the summer, that's what those are. Those are from, when were the cast iron water lines? 1939. So we're working on getting all of those replaced. We'll talk more about package 2 in a minute, and I encourage you to look at the project boards afterwards, because most of the things I speak about are going to be up there for you to talk to staff about. Also in 2024, we completed upgrades to Weir Park. We gained 6,500 square feet of usable green space with the redo. We repainted play structures, added artificial safety turf in the play areas, a new gathering area. We resurfaced the tennis courts and basketball courts. Also want to take time to recognize our park and recreation team. Do we have Susan White and team here? They're hiding in the back. This year they won a gold medal award in 2024 from the TRAPS organization. This award recognizes communities demonstrating excellence in parks and recreation management across multiple facets, from long-range planning, resource to day-to-day programming. Our Parks and Rec team goes above and beyond, and I think everybody here probably knows that, but I'm certainly grateful. Additionally, the city was awarded a $400,000 grant from Metro to redo our sidewalks and improve mobility to Metro bus stations. We contributed $100,000, Metro gave us $400,000, so it was a pretty good ROI. Construction is pending final approval for Metro, and it could start in early spring. Okay, I hate to bring people's memories back, but we can't talk about 2024 impacts without addressing Hurricane Beryl. While many of these impacts were outside of our control, to Centerpoint, the city addressed the needs it could immediately following its landfall in the early hours of July 8th. During landfall alone, the city's phone bank answered over 160 calls for service. The calls for service only increased as the power-related issues persisted for nearly 2 weeks. Staff mobilized our emergency contracts for debris hauling, and in total we hauled 16,700 cubic yards of debris. And what's impressive about that, we completed it in 23 days, and that's inside the 30-day deadline to be 100% reimbursed by the state. City of Houston, most other cities aren't that nimble and end up coming out of pocket, and that affects your tax rate. All right, love where you live. That's our theme for today's State of the City Address. Westview, we have the unique opportunity to forge our own path, like our founders did 100 years ago. It's up to us to lay the foundation to chart what the next 100 years is going to look like. This year, we have the opportunity to take important steps forward to enhance our city facilities and amenities available to our residents. Before we get into specifics though, let's see what else 2025 has in store. Again, for the 6th straight year, Westview was able to deliver services across 45 different areas while lowering the tax rate, areas of service. This keeps Westview as one of the lowest tax rate in Harris County while maintaining the balanced budget. If you want to take a picture of it, it'll be over there on that slide. I do have to recognize some important retirements we had this year. Our police chief, Ken Walker of 22 years, is retiring on the 31st. We have a new police chief, Gary Ratliff. He's back there at the food. Everybody go meet him after the meeting. Toby Brooks, our beloved senior services manager, and her service of 21 years is retiring. Thelma Gilliam, city secretary, service of 19 years, retiring. Danny Cameron, public works director, and his service of 11 years. We've had a few other retirements in 24 and upcoming in 2025, so special thanks to everybody who's given so much to the city on a day-to-day basis. All right, we are considering a 10-year CIP, capital improvement plan. This will help us chart the city financial impacts of projects over multiple years. Most cities do most 5-year capital improvements, but since we're looking at some bigger upgrades in the city, 10 years seems more appropriate. I'd like to thank Councilmember Montgomery for proposing that idea. The capital improvement plan helps us as city council to make more informed decision when determining what steps to take from a funding perspective and balance what bonds may be needed, when we can apply for grants, and how all this impacts the tax rate. Okay. Water system improvement projects. And water system, I'm talking about your drinking water. We're in the design phase for 4 major and impactful projects in our water system to ensure we are addressing the current and future needs of our residents. Wake Forest distribution lines. Those are drinking water lines from the elevated storage tank over by West Park. We have Wake Forest plant improvements we're doing over there. A new water well at Bissonnette and Wesleyan. You will not see it, it's low to the ground. But we have 2 water wells right now, and if we cut off from City of Houston, for whatever reason, we're able to use that as an auxiliary well and not have to boil water. Milton water plant improvements. That's right by here, and we will have to make some upgrades there. To highlight a few council decisions, we selected the future location of the Milton Street water pump station and ground storage tank. We will be completing repairs to the Bel Air elevated storage tank over on the other side of Bel Air Boulevard, and we'll be evaluating options to replace the tower, which is almost 100 years old now. If you have not checked it out, the Recreation Center jogging track, we are putting a pathway similar to the type of material that we have on the Edlow pathway, so it's soft and wider. It's a natural color, so I encourage everyone to go over and try some walks over there before it gets too hot. Our next mission is to continue exploring ways to make drainage better on the west side. The west side drainage project is a big one, and it would span 8 or 10 years from engineering to completion and will require bond considerations. But staff will be glad to talk to you, but it's a generational project, including a trunk line that Westview owns all on its own. Last year, the following things happened on this project. We purchased property from the railroad tracks, Bissonnette down to Brays Bayou. It's 9 acres starting at Bissonnette, and it empties into Brays, and it's 40 feet wide. This will allow the city to construct a new storm center trunk line to get the water out of the city. If all the capacity is not needed by the city, we can look at partnerships with other people to defray costs, but right now we just bought it. This acquisition ensures we control our future destiny for this drainage project now or in the future. We've initiated design on a sewer trunk line, which is phase 1 of this project. Similar to the east side, package 1 improvements that we talked about, package 2 on the east side will construct drainage improvements to a number of streets. Wake Forest from Plum to Duke, Duke to Buffalo Speedway and Wake Forest. I apologize, we don't have a map, but you'll be able to see it over there. Replacing old concrete along Bryce Boulevard from Wake Forest to Kirby. And lastly, again, replacing cast iron water lines. We're gonna see a lot fewer pipe breakages in the summer. Now, on to pedestrian mobility and safety improvements, which is an important topic to everybody. On Monday, City Council heard an update from staff and our traffic engineering firm who have experience with pedestrian safety projects throughout the Houston metro area. Here, the city's looking into short, mid, and long-range options to make West U safer for all pedestrians, old, young, and in the middle. Whether you're walking your kids to school, out for a jog, or trying to take advantages of our amenities and having to cross busy streets, we must take a holistic approach and consider safety for both pedestrians and drivers. Work's being completed now and over the next couple of months and will include refreshing pavement markings at the signalized intersection. Brighter lights will reflect off of them. It'll grab the pedestrians and the driver's attention. Upgrading our pedestrian signage to be more reflective, starting at signalized intersection and working outward through the city. We can show you pictures of those as well. Implementing technology that will allow the police department to remotely monitor intersections for traffic infractions like running red lights. For metrics only, red light cameras are not legal in Texas, but we are able to start analyzing what's happening at our different intersections, and instead of having an officer just sit out there doing traffic counts, so we can make it safer for everybody. And we will continue with enhanced enforcement for the near future. Items that are being evaluated over next year, including improved street lighting at signalized intersections. It's kind of dark now, and there's a lot we can do to make it brighter, see people coming across the street. Evaluating signalized left turns instead of open left turns where possible, and evaluating enhanced pedestrian crossings along Wesleyan. Would love for people to be able to go on across there, to go over to Colonia or come back from there. Items that will take longer to complete or evaluate include additional crosswalk lighting options across the city, maybe at not so signalized intersections, widening sidewalk corridors where possible so people will walk there instead of on the street, developing traffic calming standards that can be used in designs of future projects so people aren't tempted to run the speed limit. The way the street's built will make you want to drive a little bit slower. And evaluating enhanced pedestrian crossings along Buffalo Speedway. Right. Phase 1, flood and storm resiliency. We're talking about the wastewater treatment plant. This is the other kind of water, not the kind that comes out of your tap. Last year, we issued a bid for the wastewater treatment plant in whole because when Harvey hit, the front half of the plant, the motor control center, came within 1 foot of being inundated. So we felt it was time to look at not having that happen. We ended up with a single bid because parts of the wastewater treatment plant are very specific, so only certain engineering firms know how to do that. Parts of it are standard engineering. An effort to garner more bids, we did not take the single bid, and we phased it into 2 parts. And the first part keeps improvements moving forward on the same schedule we would have been, but it's focused on floodwater protection and stormwater and storm resiliency. And over there you'll see images of how we're elevating the whole works room and the motor control center. Is it 14 feet? 14 and a half feet above where it is now. And while those are underway, we will determine the best approach for updating the processing part, which is the back part, and we'll move from there. Our wastewater plant currently meets TCEQ requirements and has built-in redundancy to ensure that it meets our daily needs. There's 2 separate sides of it, and it's permitted for 2 million gallons per day, and we run about 700,000 through it. So if necessary, 1/2 goes down, we've got another half that's not even fully subscribed. Both council and I take the health and safety of our citizens seriously while balancing fiscal responsibility to every West 2 resident, and our goal with a phased approach accomplishes that. Okay, facilities master plan. It's an exciting moment for the city. I'm personally a strong believer in full support of this investment in the future. It's a project that has spanned several city councils over years and countless public meetings, town halls, and surveys. As the plan nears phase 2, I'll tell you what phase 1 is, and I think everybody will appreciate that. Our maintenance facility building is over behind us, and it does everything from maintain trucks. We moved the garbage trucks away, but it would be equivalent to having a commercial and Jiffy Lube move into town if someone had moved it over here. So that is going over to West Park and Dinkins near the water tower, and it will be, so 40 cars, a lot of things out of the city center, and it'll be a better place for our people to work. And we're able to move some people out of the rec center to work over there too, and I think they'll be glad to go. So that helps with recruitment and our ability to serve the residents. Phase 2 is we did resident engagement, and we more than we've ever done on any other project, I think. We've had, do we have up there? Surveys. We put things out on the marquee, mailer, social media, emails, and we've had a lot of input. And it's been a conversation of the whole city. We are trying to package this in a vote for the residents in May. And it allows them to participate in this historic moment and learn everything about it to make an informed decision. So pass or no, but if it passes, we know that this is what people are looking for. And you're going to see some renderings on what that includes if you have not been to the town hall meetings, but it looks like most of you have seen a lot of this. So this sense that we have is a sense of West 2's virtues. And even though I support the project, I support everyone's opinion on it. I just want unity in the city on it. With that being said, I'm pleased to announce that on Monday, we requested staff to return on February 10th with information regarding a possible bond election. And we would have to call for it between February 3rd or 14th. So keep your ears open for that. An overview, I told you about phase 1. Phase 2, we have design underway on, it would be this building and the library next door, and associated site improvements. Phase 3 and 4 would be City Hall, and City Hall would be so that we could expand and enhance police and fire in the building it's in now, allowing us more space for newer age trucks, space for fire and police who happen to be female. It was built when there weren't so many of them, so dressing areas and things aren't really sufficient. It will offer a smoother response to everybody in the city, and it will be better for the employees. So that's one of the big highlights of this master plan. Other elements that are less glamorous include the Milton Street pump building and brown storage tanks. You know, those big brown storage tanks that do not look that great. We are looking at replacing the 2 individual storage tanks with a dual storage tank. It's an interesting concept, a little bit cheaper actually than doing 2 storage tanks, but we're able to move the smaller one out of everybody's view. The facilities master plan is an initiative we've considered for years, and we did take input. We had a number of options. One of the options was to put the fire station here, but we took input, and if it passes, leaving it over where it is right now. And City Hall would be right here. And the reason for all these moving parts, I know some of you were here a decade ago, some of you weren't, but we don't have space. We're patchworked in with a church, so we have to maximize what we have, what we can do with what we have. So we need a little bit more space, and we have to accommodate it with what we own. So that's where we're going with the facilities master plan. And I encourage you to stay afterwards if you haven't, and talk to me, talk to staff about anything that I've talked about this evening. So this concludes my presentation. And again, I encourage you to look at the presentations, eat some food, and as we look forward to a productive 2025, I'm reminded of an identity that's core to the West G community. We are a neighborhood city. You'll see that around. Neighbors coming together to build and promote a better community. And while we may disagree sometimes on how to accomplish that goal, we're still united by the common thread that we all want to make West G the best place to live, raise a family, and retire. And whether you're new to our community or have been living in West G for generations, we have the opportunity to come together to create something special, so we need to work toward that. Thanks again, and have a good night.